Greetings, everyone. Glad you could join us for Phase 2 of our training with 5. Like the recruits, I'm sure you've spent time mastering 5's even facts also. Now, let's see what happens when 5 partners up with some rather odd numbers. Take it away, 5.
Good morning, recruits.
Good morning.
If Sergeant 3 sent you back here, it means that you've mastered all those facts, where my partner is one of the even numbers, right?
We did, sir.
Those were easy, sir.
Sergeant 3 even drilled us on our zeros, ones, and twos facts.
And he even complimented us on how fast we were.
Well, wonders never cease. You should be proud of yourselves, as we all know that Sergeant 3 does not dole out his praise unless it's well deserved. It also tells me that you are very prepared for this lesson. Now, I want you to think back to our first session and the pattern you noticed in the ones place of the products of my facts. Who remembers what that pattern was?
I do. It's 5050.
Right you are. So far we've covered all the facts where the products have a 0 in the ones place. Now, let's examine the facts that form the other part of this pattern, with a 5 in the ones place. But first, let me ask you a question. The number 25, if you break it apart into tens and ones, what do you have?
You have 2 tens, which is 20, plus 5 ones.
Exactly. That's what the number 25 means. It represents the combination of 20 and 5. What does the number 35 represent?
30 plus 5.
And 45 is?
40 plus 5.
And 15?
10 plus 5.
Excellent. Now, let's use this to help us learn the facts where I have an odd partner. You already know from your lesson with my dear little friend 1, the product of 1 times 5. So we'll begin with the king of drills, Sergeant 3. Look at the code for this fact. Who can interpret this code for me?
I can, sir. It says 3 times 5, which is 5 plus 5 plus 5.
Now, you already know that 2 times 5, or 5 plus 5, is 10. So to find 3 times 5, you just add one more group of 5 to the product of 2 times 5, which is 10. In other words, 3 times 5 is 10 plus 5, which you just told me was
15.
Right. 2 facts down, 3 more to go. And this next fact, I get to be the maker and the doer. Who can read this code for me?
I will. It reads 5 times 5.
And 5 times 5 is one group of 5 more than the product of one of the even facts that you recently learned. Which fact would that be?
4 times 5.
Precisely. And what is the product of 4 times 5?
20.
So then, if 4 times 5 is 20, and 5 times 5 is just one group of 5 more than the product of 4 times 5, what is the product of 5 times 5?
It's just 20 plus 5, which is 25.
Absolutely and positively correct. Okay, for my next act, I get to practice a little espionage, as I partner up with none other than
Agent 007.
And one never knows what kind of adventures may be encountered, what dangers might lurk around every corner when you go on an operation with this stealthy number. Here's the code for this op. Thinking about how we found the product for the last two facts, who can tell me how we might find the product for this fact?
7 times 5 is just one group of 5 more than 6 times 5. And we already know that 6 times 5 is 30, and 30 plus 5 is 35. So 7 times 5 is 35.
My, you guys are good. On to our final fact, where I partner up with that famous business tycoon, Mr. 9. Here's the code for our joint operation. Who thinks they can devise a way to quickly find a product for this fact?
I do. The code reads 9 times 5, which is 9 groups of 5. We already learned that the product of 8 times 5 is 40, so we can just add one more group of 5 to 40 to find the product of 9 times 5.
Yes, indeed. And what is 40 plus 5, recruits?
45.
Spectacular. Now I'd like to share with you a little something that I like to use to help recruits remember these facts. I'm sure you noticed that each decade, each set of numbers that has the same digit in the tens place, have a pair of products from my set of facts. For the teens, it's 10 and 15. For the 20s decade, it's 20 and 25. For the 30s, it's 30 and 35. And for the 40s, it's 40 and 45. Now the smallest of my cofactors, excluding my bounty red number friend, are 2 and 3. And logically speaking, a smaller cofactor will produce a smaller product, right?
Right. Because the smaller the maker, the fewer times it will make you add your amount.
Couldn't have said it better myself. So 2 and 3 are my two cofactors that have products in the teens, which are 10 and 15. So I call these my teenage cofactors. The next two cofactors, 4 and 5, have products in the 20s decade. What two products would these be, recruits?
20 and 25.
Right. Since they're in the 20s, I call them my young adults. Now, which two cofactors do you think have products in the 30s?
It's gotta be 6 and 7, as these are the next two numbers.
Good deduction. When 6 and 7 are my cofactors, they produce 30 and 35 respectively. So I call these my middle-aged cofactors. And that brings us to the final two cofactors, 8 and 9. When I partner up with these two, we produce 40 and 45 respectively. Now I know that people in their 40s seem ancient to you guys, so when I partner up with 8 and 9, I call them the old folks. Let's try all my facts now, all mixed up. Remember to use your strategies, and whatever you do not skip count. If Sergeant 3 should hear you, he'd have you drilling out there for the rest of the afternoon. I'll write a fact on the chalkboard, and you write the product on your whiteboards.
If you'd like to work along with the recruits, grab your whiteboards and write the products with us. Just hit the pause button, and we'll wait right here while you go and get your stuff.
Ready? Here we go. Well, it certainly didn't take you long to catch on to my strategies. Sergeant 3 is waiting for you in the courtyard, and at the rate you're going, he'll be finished with you in no time. Come back here when you're all done, and we'll add the rest of my facts to the ones you've already mastered.
Not bad, recruits. Not bad at all.
Back so soon? That must be a record. Here's what your paper should look like once you've added all my facts to the others.
Do you realize that now that you've mastered zeros facts and ones and twos and now fives, that's a total of 64 out of your 100 basic multiplication facts? Only 36 left to go, and you'll be ready for some more advanced training in the area of multiplication. Next up, you'll be working with 9, and he has some great tricks up his suit sleeves too. See you soon.